Hello Vivek,
Hi, yes, sir.
how are you?
I am good, sir. Very good.
Okay, so today is your React interview with Ashish Kumar. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so he is joining in 2 minutes. So please.
Okay.
Hey, hello, Vivek.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir. Very good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you?
I am fine, sir.
Okay, great. Okay. Could you please introduce yourself?
So, sir, myself Vivek Bhardwaj, and I am a student of BCA. Currently, I am studying in my sir fourth semester, and also, sir, I have been into web development in one stack like from the past 1 year, sir.
Okay.
I
So,
have been
like,
building projects only. Right now, I am looking for opportunities in one stack.
mm-hmm. So, what kind of project have you done so far?
Sir, so far, like I have recently built a React video chat app using Peer.js, Node.js,
Mm-hmm.
Socket.io,
Mm-hmm.
and the front end was based on Next.js. And also, sir, I am building projects like Mern Stack e-commerce project. It's like front end part has been completed, back end part is yet to do, and other projects like chat app also I have made using real time text chat app.
Okay.
Uh, Such.
Okay, great. Okay, so you means you are a fresher, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am a fresher, but I do have like
You
experience
have
in
done.
part of.
You have done some kind of projects, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we will start our interview. That interview will based on three parts. Firstly, we will ask you some CSS questions, and
Okay,
then we will move on JavaScript, and
okay,
at the end we will move on React.js. Okay.
okay, okay, sir.
Okay. So, could you please tell me what are the property of flags in
Sorry, sir.
CSS?
Flex.
Huh.
Sir, in Flex, we used to like align our contents. So if we want to center our div, so we use display flex, flex direction, respectively like column or row, and then we use align item center, and then we say justify content center. So we used to like we can set our contents in like row, column, and that we it's also helpful in responsiveness of our website, so we
Mhm.
can use flex wrap property to wrap our content according to our
Okay.
website
Great.
layout.
Great. Okay. Tell me the types of positions in CSS.
So in CSS there are like position absolute, position relative, position fixed, position sticky. These are the positions in CSS.
Okay. Why we use G index in CSS?
Sorry, sir.
G index, Z index.
Okay, sir. So the Z index is basically we use to like overlap our one div to another div. If we want that like the div is over another div, then if we give Z index property to one, then that div will be shown. And if we give property Z index one to the below div, then that will overlap to that div.
Okay. What
Yes.
are box model in CSS?
Sir, in CSS, box models are like border box, content box, and box sizing, border box, and content box.
Okay. Okay. So now move on JavaScript.
Yes,
So
sir.
tell me the difference between let, var, and const.
So, sir, let and const are let and const are block scope, and where is a function scope. So,
Mhm.
in the const, sir, if we cannot redefine our data, but in the let we can do that. We can redefine.
Okay. Have you heard about hosting?
Yes, sir. I have heard about hosting.
Okay. What is it?
Sir, it like we call our we sir when we like console log our data without defining before defining.
Okay. So can we do the same with function?
Yeah, but in function it gets called as per like I have done.
Okay.
So, but if we use like let name is equals to something, and
Mhm.
if we call before defining our variable, so then it will give the like reference error, and in case of where it will give the undefined error. But in case of functions, I think it gets called.
Okay. With related this, I think you might have heard about temporal dead zone as well, right?
Yes, a temporal dead zone. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So what does it mean? Like how exactly it is being
Yes,
called.
sir. It's a temporal dead zone is something related to like this function and block scope only. So in the block scope that we say no that let const start block scope. So there, if we define before that, then it goes to something like
Okay,
temporal
okay.
dead zone.
So hosting is just only work with any particular function or any other function as well.
So hosting it goes with
So as you said,
uh,
in hosting, like we call a function before declaring it, right?
yes, sir.
So we are going to do the same with arrow function. Does it work or not?
If no, sir, but in arrow functions it will give an error.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay. Tell me the difference between spread and rest.
So spread and rest operators are in the spread operator both are like something like for destructuring our arrays.
Hmm.
So in the spread operator, we if we spread the data, then for concatenating purposes we use this.
Okay. So this was about spread, right?
Yes, sir.
And what about rest?
Sir, rest operator is used to like destructure the data to right now, sir. I'm not
Are
getting
you
any.
sure?
Yes, sir. In the REST property, we use. Uh,
So
I'm
suppose
not.
I'm giving you a basic example.
Mhm.
Suppose there is a function. You have
Okay.
to create a function. That function basically takes an n number of input, right? And you have to find
Mhm.
n number of sum over there.
Yes, sir.
So in this case, what operator you are going to use? I mean, you don't know how many operator. I mean, how many parameter will become. In
Okay.
this case, which operator we are going to use? Spread or rest?
Sir, uh, spread operator, sir.
Mm, no.
Sir, can you
Did
please
you did you get
give
my question?
in the chat app, in the chat box, you can.
Chat box is simply like if I am going to give you the snippet, then you can understand. But
Uh-huh.
overall, I'm just asking I'm giving you the hint you should use rest operator. Rest
Mm-hmm.
operator is when used when you don't have know how many parameters are going to take. In this
Uh-huh.
case, you can use rest
Okay, sir.
operator. Okay,
Okay, sir.
not an issue. Is JavaScript is synchronous or asynchronous?
Sir, JavaScript is synchronous in nature, but we have like functions like async await. So using that, we can make it asynchronous.
Okay, okay. So, okay, tell me the difference between normal function and arrow function.
Sir, normal functions are like simple functions, and in the arrow functions we define in the arrow functions there is a function declaration with and we store it in a variable
Mm-hmm.
like const name is equals to then we define arrow function. So basically we are storing that function in a variable and then we call it from there.
Is there any other thing apart from this, just a syntax wise?
Syntax wise,
Apart from syntax wise,
apart from syntax wise like arrow functions. Uh, Apart, no, I've not heard like.
okay, not an issue. Uh, okay, tell me this keyword. Describe this keyword.
Yeah, sir, this keyword is used to point to the object itself. The data inside the object we are using is to use to reference to point to that object.
Okay, what about when I call just this keyword in a function?
So this keyword in a function, so it will point to the window object, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, tell me the difference between promise, callback, hail, and async await.
So yeah, sir. So in the promise callback and async updates, and starting from callback, in the callback we are accepting another function inside callback, and in the promise we get two parameters like resolve and reject,
Hmm.
and in the async await we are it's just another term of promise. So there we use async and await to handle our functions,
Okay.
which returns a promise.
So basically, why we use these kinds of things? I mean, methods and whatever you can say.
Sir, so to work in an asynchronous nature, we use promise or async await to handle multiple calls at the same time. So,
Okay,
for that,
API calling, right?
uh,
Okay. Do you know what is object prototype?
Object prototype, yes sir, I have heard about it. Object prototype, sir, like the functions have an empty space called prototype. uh, Something like I've heard.
Okay, okay. Tell me the difference between deep copy and shallow copy.
So in the deep copy and shallow copy, so in the object, on the object like deep copy, so sir, yes sir, object dot assign property we use to like clone an object. So there the object is based on that like a deep copy, and when we simply like copy object in another variable, there it goes in like in shallow copy.
So like how we can make a copy as a silo, like what
Mhm.
method and procedure we are going to use so that I
So
can make a copy with a
if
silo.
we have an object like const name is equals to like const name is equals to object const name name object, and then we are storing that, copying that object in another object by const name 2 is equals to name, then this goes in like shallow copy. And if we are using like object dot assign, then it goes in like deep copy.
Are you
So I'm not that sure, but if I remember that I have read something like this.
so basically spread operator is the one to make it a silo copy. Okay, not an issue.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so tell me the difference between event bubbling and event capturing.
Sir, yes, in event bubbling, in event capturing. So basically, if we take an example, like we have three divs,
Mhm.
div one, div two, and div parent div, child div, and inside that we have another child div. So if we click on the child div, then all three, and if we have made a function on all three divs, and we have like a console.log parent div one called, child div one called, and child div two called, then if we click on the centermost div, which is the child div, then all the three console.log will be printed.
Okay, this was what for? Like event bubbling or event capturing?
So this was like for event bubbling.
Okay, what about event capturing?
So event capturing, it goes from like the first one. It will get called from the parent, then the child, and then the child two. It will go from
Top to
top to
bottom.
bottom. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Uh, so like, do you know like how exactly JavaScript works? Like what is event loop, how web API calls and all?
Yes, sir. There is a call stack function global context, and
Mhm.
from there like it goes.
Okay, what about event loop?
Sir, event loop is something. For example, if we take example, if we have, so for example, I will take like I have my console.log name, and then I have like one my promise for is there, and then my set timeout function is there. So initially, my first console.log name will be printed, and then my promise will go, and then my set timeout function will be printed. So set timeout is handled by the browser, and these it goes, something like this.
Okay. So have you heard about currying and ify?
Currying and iffy.
Currying function. Okay, what about ify? Immediate invoke function expression.
Yeah, immediately invokes function expression, like it's uh, if in the chat box, sir, can I show?
Yeah, you can paste it over here.
Okay, so
Okay.
and there if
Mhm.
it's like this.
Hmm. So
i'm
like
i'm, I'm just going to
parts
correct
it's
that there. Yeah.
okay. So okay, great, great. Okay, so tell me the difference between map, filter, and reduce.
So map filter and reducer, map is a array function, which array method which is used to return an array when we map all over the keys. And array and filter is used to like filter which data we want from the array. So and also, sir, there is an alternative of filter which is finds. In finds, what happens, it returns only one value which we find from an array. But in filters, if our conditions are meeting, then it returns all those values. And in reduce, for example, we need to find the sum of age in an array, in an object which is stored in an array. Then we use reduce function. It takes initial value, and then it calculates the sum from of all the data.
Okay. Okay. Can you please tell me, like, can we apply condition over the map or not?
Sorry, sir, can
Can we apply condition over the map or not? Like,
yes,
as you
we
said,
can.
we in filter we
uh,
can apply some conditions, right?
uh,
So the same thing can be applied over the map or not?
Sir, map, yes, we can apply. I have applied, like, using ternary operator. I have applied some conditions in map also.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So have you heard about generator functions?
Generator function, yes, sir. Star something, it goes from, but I have not used in any of my,
Okay. 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 Not an issue.
in practical way.
Okay. Tell me, what are closures?
Yes, sir. So closures are. I have heard the definition. Closures are JavaScript, which return.
It's kind of lexical scoping.
Yeah. When the function is called inside another function, and it returns with the values of the first functions, then we can call it a closure.
Are you sure?
Yes, a little bit, I'm sure.
Okay. Okay. So tell me the difference between Fetch API and Axios.
Sorry, sir. Fetch API
Fetch.
and Axios. And Axios is just a JavaScript library which is used to do API calls. And in the fetch, it is a JavaScript by default method to call an API.
Okay. Okay. Now we are going to move on React.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Tell me the difference between virtual DOM and real DOM.
So, the virtual DOM is the virtual representation of the DOM, and the real DOM is the actual representation of the HTML DOM. So, in the virtual DOM, sir, there are quite differences between virtual DOM and real DOM, such as virtual DOM is like fast. There is less memory. There is less memory consumed in virtual DOM, whereas in compared to real DOM, there is high memory usage in real DOM, and also the sir, DOM manipulations are a bit easy in the virtual DOM as compared to real DOM. So when we update our any component in React in React, then the React compares the real DOM. Then the React first compares which part of the DOM has changed, and then it
Mhm.
syncs with the real DOM.
Okay. Okay. So tell me the advantage and disadvantage of React.js.
ReactJs advantages of ReactJs includes like it easy for to handle our HTML and DOM manipulations. Like we can use JSX syntax where we use JavaScript in HTML. We use HTML inside JavaScript, and also, sir. But in case of the cons of React, I remember like it is very difficult for the newcomers to understand React. Something like.
Okay. Any other disadvantage?
Any other disadvantages is React. React is based on virtual DOM, so it's a client-side rendering. So we have to make it initially. Sir, React is a client-side rendered app. So there we face some SEO issues in that. So we have to make it server-side rendering. Then it will good for
Okay.
the SEO.
Okay. Got it. What are the types of component in React.js?
So types of components in there are sir, the two components, class-based and function-based component.
Any other?
uh, Class-based, function-based, higher order component.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, sir, these three only right now.
Okay. Okay. So tell me, like, what are pure components?
Sir, pure components, pure components are the term which is used in class components.
Mhm.
So, I have not gone into class components that deep. I'm only worked, sir, in functional component only.
Okay, you mainly
So
have worked on function, right?
yes, sir.
Okay. So tell me, what are states and props?
Sir, state and props, like states are states are the data of a component, and props are the data which we pass from one component to our child component.
Mhm. Okay, so why we use state instead of creating variable
Sorry,
in
sir.
React? Why we create state instead of creating simple variable?
So we use states to our manage our data. So in the for our for the it's also used to manage our states from one sending our data to our child components, and so for all these we use states in React.
So mainly this different that you are saying, right? I'm
Yes.
asking why we create a state like const data, comma set data, right? As
Okay.
we basically store the state, store data in a state, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can simply can also create variables to store the data. But in React.js, we mainly create a state, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any specific thing behind the scenes running for the React.js?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, but sir, in the React.js, uh, something
Okay, okay,
we
not an issue.
use.
Okay. Do you know what is prop dealing?
Yes, sir. Prop drilling occurs like when we want to send data to our the deepest component, and we send data props from one component to another component. In this way, we stuck in like prop drilling. Something.
Okay. Is it good to have?
Sir, it's not good to have. There are other alternatives for this. We can use like a context API or Redux toolkit
Mhm.
to handle our states in React,
Okay. Okay.
global state.
Okay. What are state lifting up?
So state lifting up happens like when we are sending data from child to parent.
Hmm.
In that case, we call it state lifting up.
So
So
like
like
how we pass the data from child to
so
parent.
yes, yes, sir. So first, for example, we have a parent component and child component, and we have rendered our child component in our parent component, and we have defined a function in our parent component, and we are sending that function as a prop to our child component, and we are sending the data like as a we are sending the data from the child component to parent component, and we are accepting that data as a parent as a parameter, and when we console.log we get the data from child.
Okay. Where we declare that function. I
So
mean,
we declare that function in our parent component.
okay, great. Okay. So tell me difference between use state and use reducer.
So use state hook is used to manage data. Both hooks are used to manage data, but
Mhm.
the difference is that use reducer hooks can manage complex data at a time, and it's not and also when we are having multiple states in our React, at that time it's better to switch to use reducer hook.
Okay. How many parameter it takes?
It takes a two parameter. There is one, it's state and action.
Okay. In use reducer, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tell me difference between use ref and use effect.
Sir, use ref works in use ref is an example of an uncontrolled component.
Hmm.
So there we used to handle when we want to handle our DOM. That case we use ref hook, and use effect hook is used to use effect to runs at when our component renders, when we are calling an API, or when we are updating our state initially when the DOM renders, at that time we use effect hook.
Okay. Okay. Tell me the difference between like not the difference between when we have to use context API and Redux.
Sir, yes, sir. As a context API and Redux can be when we want to like globally manage our data. At that time, we can use Redux, and also, sir, at the same time, context API can be good, but it gets like messed up when we are dealing with lots of data in our
Okay.
component.
Okay. So what are the structure of Redux and what are the main pillars over there?
So yeah, in the Redux, in the Redux toolkit, there are we have our the hooks such as like use selector, use dispatch. So these hooks we can send data to our component and get data from our Redux. And in the inside the Redux, we have like our initial data. We define initial data, then we define action, then we export that action. We export reducers, and we can have multiple reducers in our Redux. So in this way, this works.
Okay,
And
you
we can
mainly
also
have
have,
worked on toolkit, right?
yes,
You
sir.
haven't worked on the core Redux.
No, sir.
Okay, okay, great. So tell me the difference between use memo and use callback.
Use memo, sir, returns a memoized value, whereas use callback returns a memoized function. Use memo is used to like performance optimization of an application.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
both are basically used for code optimization,
Yes, sir.
right?
Code optimization.
Hmm. Have you heard about middlewares in React?
In middlewares in React, I haven't heard, sir. Yes, in the Next.js, like I have heard like some middle kinds of middlewares, but in React, I haven't heard something like this.
Okay, you means you haven't worked on Saga and Thunk.
No, sir. I have used
Or
Redux thumb to call the API.
mm-hmm.
In the Redux toolkit, there we use Redux async thumb to call our API, and but I haven't worked with Saga.
Okay, you mean to say like you have mainly worked on create async Thunk,
Yes, sir. Create async thumb.
which comes with toolkit.
Which comes with the Redux toolkit.
Okay, so like why we go for separately async Thunk? Why we not call API over the toolkit?
uh, we go for like for handling our because sir, we initially when we calling our when we call our API using create async thing, then we get the extra reducers builder add case where we define functions like where we get loading uh, initial data, and then we set it into our application.
Okay,
So
instead of that, like as create async Thunk, you can
yeah.
directly call the API in Redux or not?
No, sir, it won't get called.
Okay, okay. So tell me the difference between lazy loading and code splitting.
Lazy loading, sir. In React, we use lazy loading to like for our performance optimization of an application, and code splitting can be used like when we are having multiple HTML structure in our app, and we are when we want to reuse our same like code in our other components. At that time, we can we can perform code splitting.
Okay, what are render props?
Sorry, sir. What are
Render.
rendered
Hmm.
props? Like props are the data which we are sending from one component to another component.
Okay, okay. What are React portals?
Sorry, sir.
React portals.
React bottles.
Portals. Portals.
React. Sorry, sir.
Let me just write it on there.
React portals. Okay, so React portals. No, sir. I haven't heard about this.
Okay, what are profilers?
Profilers.
Hmm?
Profilers in React. No, no. I have not heard about this, sir.
Okay, okay. So, okay, Vivek, I am done with you,
Okay, sir.
and I will give the feedback to hers.
Okay, sir.
Bye.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hello, Vivek.
Yes, sir.
So, how was your experience?
Yes, sir. It was good, and I like for the last two questions, I haven't heard about this. I guess.
Okay, so not an issue. That's it for the our end, and I
Okay.
will discuss with Ashish, and
Okay.
we will get back to you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.